How's it going, everybody? That's right. If you're hearing my voice, we are back from our long break. The Coven has returned, where we talk about all things feminism, all things nerdy culture, and we mix those into the cauldron and see what we get. And I should say, before we start here, trigger warning. We're talking about trigger warnings, safe spaces, and self-deprecation culture. Things that you might run into online. So joining me, I am Daley Wilhelm, Witch of the Wavelengths. Joining me today is the lovely
Kora Wilson, your Druid of Decibels.
And the wonderful
Matthew Yapp, the Witch of the Speed Force.
Hey. We all have our names. We're all here in this safe space. So, little background, little definition. So what I found as a safe space definition is that safe spaces are places or communities, either online or off, where bigotry and oppressive views are not tolerated. They are controlled environments, insofar as they can be, in which people can discuss certain issues and support one another. Usually, safe spaces will focus on specific issues like sexism, racism, or trans antagonism. I was not going to pronounce that word right. So, safe spaces, I would typically think of as, I guess, being where you're going to get kicked out instantly if you say something offensive.
Right.
Yeah. I could see where some people could consider safe space. Like, if you go into a classroom and they're like, oh, this is a safe space. I feel like some people take the safe space literally, where if you happen to say something like diverts from even a little bit of like politically correct or just even super sensitive, then no, goodbye.
Yeah.
Which really isn't what a safe space is.
No, it's not productive.
Mm-mm.
See, that's the argument a lot of people are making about safe spaces, is that it's not productive in any way because it's essentially just an echo chamber of the same ideas over and over again. Mm-hmm. Or I like what it was called, a circle jerk. Because we're all just repeating the same thing and being like, we're really great for thinking, for having these opinions, and we're really forward thinking, therefore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so, I consider safe spaces a space where you're warned, you're told what's going to be talked about, and like you're more so accepted for like different ideas, not like necessarily protected. I feel like there are different types of safe spaces.
Right.
Like there's a safe space for being protected from certain actual like really triggering actual ideas that might have happened to you. But then there are safe spaces where you can go to talk about the really hard things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a safe space before, which I felt like was basically a circle jerk. It was just a bunch of people. It was an LGBT safe space, and the original idea was that it was supposed to like go and discuss different issues within the community, but it just kind of turned into like we're so much better than everyone who doesn't have these views, and we're just really great, and if you disagree with us, you're homophobic and transphobic and biphobic.
Oh, dang.
And I was
triple threat.
I was like, man, everyone else sure is a mess. We're doing great, guys.
Yeah, that's what I think a lot of people fear when universities, for example, say that they should be a safe space. There's been a lot of controversy about that because I feel like when I went to college, I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't rural Indiana anymore. It's still rural Indiana, but there's more liberal people here.
It's Muncie.
It's not controversial for me to say that I'm a feminist here on campus as it would be.
You are? I gotta go.
Oh my gosh.
That's too much for me.
Our feminism and nerdy stuff podcast. Welcome, Matt.
Who knew?
Did not know what you were getting into. I should have made a trigger warning. So sorry.
You really did.
TW feminism.
But and like universities also really serve as like kind of the first place for like an exchange of very different ideas because we all come from typically very different places.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the ancient idea of university was you went there to learn, to change your ideas, to grasp new beliefs and new ideas.
Right.
I feel like although some view the idea of safe spaces as a good thing, others view the safe spaces as the basically destruction of that molding. Because your college years often are the years that you really become and learn who you are and where you're going to go. Like that's where you find your core beliefs and like to me, you don't really change them unless something super big happens in your life after college, because you're never going to be on a campus like that again unless you work in one. But I mean, we're all not going to work on a campus.
Probably
not all of us. All of us would be being paid very little. But yeah,
it's like you get $2. There you go.
There you go.
No, I think that like the safe space that colleges should try to be is just that like you said, you can explore different things without being harassed for your views. So like you can say like I'm a feminist, and like people won't be like, oh, you're killing men. But like little background on my life, I grew up for a lot of my childhood in a trailer park, which you can imagine the folks who live in trailer parks, not to stereotype because I was one of them, but they're not the most like accepting bunch. But it was really hard for me because I didn't have a place to like explore. Being a gay child in rural Indiana was not super easy. And I feel like once I got to college, I was able to like deal with that more in like a healthy environment where I knew there was at least people around like me. And even now, like I'm dealing with the idea of like maybe I'm bisexual, and I can like explore that without things getting like hateful or anything like that. So it's good to have that, but I feel like the problem runs into when you start to tell people like you have to think like this. Like it's not great.
Yeah, that's how I've kind of felt about like the idea of much less, I guess, quote unquote safe spaces, like maybe rural hometown in Indiana. It's like, if you think about it, it's kind of like a reverse safe space, because it's like all their conservative ideas are safe and they're unquestioned, whereas when they move out into the world, like in a university setting, then that becomes unsafe for those particular ideas. So it really depends on what side of the spectrum that you're on.
So I guess it's what views you have.
Yeah,
or it's how open-minded you are, really.
Yeah,
a lot of people, that do come to university often are more open-minded, but you run into that small percentage of people who come to college and they're just like, no, I'm never going to change my mind. This is what I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, with some beliefs, like, yeah, be confident in your beliefs. But others, you're just like, but, doing like conversion therapy and like, testing on animals and all this. No.
I'm going to come to college and stay racist. I've decided.
Impressive.
So, you should come to college to be able to change your beliefs, but, also be able to have a space where you can explore them.
Yeah.
And I think, and like we've said, that should be the safe space.
I feel it. I like this a lot. These are all things that the writer, John J. Ellison, PhD, the dean of the students in the college of, I like the college, it's the University of Chicago, but they preface everything with just saying the college in really fancy font. So that's what I'm referring to when I say the college.
It's the only one.
The only college. So Dr. Ellison sent out this letter to incoming freshmen of the class of 2020, just kind of warning about safe spaces.
Wait, why 2020? It's not even 2017.
It's like me, like the freshman weird class of 2020.
Gosh, I feel old. I'm class of 2018.
I'm just a boy.
And life is a nightmare.
I'm just a kid.
True.
But so I'll read some of this letter, skipping around. Once here, you will discover that one of the University of Chicago's defining characteristics is our commitment to freedom of inquiry and expression. This is captured in the university's faculty report on freedom of expression. Members of our community are encouraged to speak, write, listen, challenge, and learn without fear of censorship. Civility and mutual respect are vital to all of us, and freedom of expression does not mean the freedom to harass or threaten other students. You will find that we expect members of our community to be engaged in rigorous debate, discussion, and even disagreement. At times, this may challenge you and even cause you discomfort. Our commitment to academic freedom means that we do not support so-called trigger warnings. We do not cancel invited speakers because their topics might prove controversial, and we do not condone the creation of intellectual safe spaces where individuals can retreat from ideas and perspectives at odds with their own. Fostering the freedom of exchange of ideas reinforces a related university priority, building a campus that welcomes people of all backgrounds. Diversity of opinion and background is a fundamental strength of our community, and members of our community must have the freedom to espouse and explore a wide range of ideas. So I thought it was interesting how it said retreating from ideas that might threaten their own, at odds with their own, because
It's an odd choice of words.
Yeah, at odds with their own. That's kind of essentially what I guess a safe space is, but usually when referring to a safe space, we're talking about other people's ideas that reject the existence of other people or the right of other people to live their lives the way they are.
Like, I think he's interpreting the idea of a safe space as a space where you do not have to hear any ideas opposed to your own.
Right.
Which some spaces that say they're safe spaces do that, yeah. But in all reality, current safe spaces are merely a space where if, like, in your day-to-day life, like, you know, you can't say that you're pagan, or you can't say that you're of the LGBT community, or you can't say that you're this or that, at the end of the day, you have a space with people that are supportive and there for you that you can go to and freely be who you are. And I feel like he's interpreting safe spaces as merely just a space that you go in, like basically like a beige room that you go in, you lock the door.
It's
and
beige. I like the specific detail.
It's beige with like concrete floor, like the weird fluorescent lights up top.
Of course.
And you have one key, and the only way you can lock it is from the inside. Like, I feel like that's how he's interpreting what we do when we want safe spaces.
Yeah, I feel like it goes along with, like, the idea of, like, that people are being coddled then when they're demanding safe spaces. They're like, la la la, I can't hear you. You can't tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I think, for the most part, when we're talking about safe spaces, it's not whether someone's right or wrong. It's whether someone feels comfortable where they're at.
Yeah.
Which I think is just basic for everyone. Everyone should feel comfortable in a conversation with someone. They might be angry because it's like, no, my ship is better than yours. Like, let's be real here. But that's not going to, like, threaten their existence as a human being.
I feel like with the idea of safe spaces and trigger warnings, it'd be kind of like if you went into, say, a women in gender studies class as, like, a male, and you go into this class and, you know, I'm all for freedom of expression. But if you're constantly being berated by the female professor that, well, women are better, you know, feminism is good, you should always be a feminist. If you're not a feminist, then you're trash, blah, blah. Like, I think that's sort of where we're coming with the whole safe space and idea thing. Like, it's great to have opinions that are opposed to your own, but when you start to feel uncomfortable in a space where you're, especially in a learning environment, like, that's where people are wanting the whole safe space and warn us about, you know, what to expect.
Yeah.
When the freshman class at our, like, orientation thing, we had a speaker, and she talked about a little bit about safe spaces. I can't remember her name, but she talked about how when someone has an opinion that rivals yours or something like that, don't kind of like he said, don't retreat back. She said to lean into their opinions, and I feel like that's what safe spaces could be, is like leaning into other people's opinions, hearing them, but doing it in an environment where it's not hostile.
Yeah, that's a good word. Hostile,
where you know that if you do have a disagreement, you can be mature, civil, and learn from it, even if at the end of the day you still don't change your opinion.
Right.
You can still learn, like, okay, I have more perspective on why they think that.
Yeah.
Because safe spaces can be useful, because, like, when you do get hostile, like we said, people get, like, defensive and they don't hear each other's opinions. So if you are in a space where you know everyone's going to be mature, you kind of are more willing to, like, listen and see other perspectives.
Yeah.
I feel it. So I feel like the world obviously isn't a safe space. Like, that's just the reality. But in the outside world, outside of college campuses, outside of online communities, we can still preface things to make people more comfortable by adding trigger warnings. But there's kind of still a debate about trigger warnings, and I'm kind of on either side a little bit, because trigger warnings, I think, are important, especially when dealing with not necessarily controversial issues, but issues that might bring up something harmful in another person, which can be anything. That's true. But at the same time, how often do we need to be looking out? Do we need to be considering, oh, I'm going to say something about this. I should warn people about that. And does that then encumber what I'm allowed to say?
It is a weird idea, trigger warnings, because I'm sort of the same way. I'm sort of like, yeah, you should warn people what you're talking about. But then I almost feel like, in this day and age, by the time you finish your list of trigger warnings, you've already gone like halfway through your time to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And, I feel like in some instances for graphic and obscene, sort of more on the harder edge of the spectrum, definitely be like, I'm about to talk about, say like rape or, like nudity or, this type of gory thing or whatever. There might be mentions of this thing. But trigger warning, like small objects, smaller ideas, like on the less edgy like spectrum, I feel is getting a bit more obscene. And I understand that people can be triggered, especially with PTSD, by certain things. But I don't know. I don't want to say that, they should just deal with it. That's very insensitive. But like I said, having to warn every single time is
excessive.
Yeah.
Superfluous.
Because I feel as if people, especially, I use the example of PTSD, they eventually start to get better, like through their own means or through therapy, if they have access to it, and eventually they do learn to cope with the idea. And I know the warning does help, but at the same time, it is excessive at times.
Yeah. So my first ever encounter with what I would call a trigger warning is like tags in fanfic.
Right.
Because like I'm not going to read a fan fiction where suddenly one half of the couple is going to die midway through. I'm not in it for that. I don't want to hurt myself like that. Oh my gosh. But so I want that tagged in the description. I want it tagged if there's something non-consensual happening, because I'm not cool with that. Or I want it tagged if there's some specific detail that might squick someone out. I love that word. I have never used that outside of like a fandom thing though.
What is squick?
Squick is like kind of a step below triggering. It's like that squicks me out. That weirds me out. I don't like that.
It makes me very uncomfortable.
But
okay.
Like it doesn't. I wouldn't say that it would trigger me though.
I love that word.
Yeah, squicky. Something squicky.
Pretty squicky, man.
Pretty squicky, man. That's the title of this episode. Pretty squicky, man. But then in fan fictions, it's one thing. But what if that were a standard for fiction in general, for TV shows? Would that then ruin aspects of plot and what have you, because you already know there's a trigger warning for rape on here, so at some point the only female main character is probably going to be raped at some point.
Well, I feel like that's why at the beginning they have that viewer discretion is advised. Like, say you're watching Dexter, like you're going to see blood and gore and like really, really violent, weird things.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I think that's basically the trigger warning is, hey, viewer discretion advised. It might be graphic. You might not like it. Here's an hour of show.
Yeah. Is that detailed enough though?
Yeah, I'll say, because that's the thing. A lot of them, like, there is like a thing that says sexual violence, but that could mean like a lot of things. And like you said, like it doesn't necessarily mean that like someone's gonna get raped, and it could be triggering. Like, it's not a ton of detail, especially since you usually don't pay attention to those things anyways. So like I kind of agree that like, no, it's not necessarily enough detail, but I'm also with you, Daley, that like we can't like have the whole plot line right here. It's problematic.
I don't want to be told what's going to happen. I want to be surprised. Like, usually the things that I'm watching with horror aspects, I'm wanting to be shocked, but at the same time, if something traumatic had happened to me in the past and I wouldn't want to face that again when I'm sitting down trying to be entertained by something, that's like counterintuitive here. But yeah, it's just kind of hard whether or not can you tag real life? Can you put trigger warnings on life?
Is it the responsibility of the person like putting out the content or the person looking for the content? Because if a person knows that they're triggered by, X, Y, and Z, should it be their responsibility to look out and try to avoid certain things that they know will have these ideas, like, say it's like knives, guns, and gore. Like, you're not going to go watch a horror film because like 90% of the time there's going to be a gun or gore or knives.
Yeah.
And so is it like a 50-50 responsibility? Is it more on the responsibility of the person putting out the content, or is it more of the responsibility of the person who has these triggers?
That's a good question.
I personally, I can't handle. I get triggered when I can't do like slashed wrists and things like that. And so IMBD has a great thing called the Parent's Guide. I'm not a parent, but it has...
You parent yourself.
I parent myself. Take care of me. It has like everything that happens, like violence-wise. And so since I don't want to be spoiled, I usually have someone who doesn't care. I'm like, hey, can you just check this real quick and see if it says anything about slashed wrists? And if it does, then I just don't watch the thing. And if it doesn't, then like, hey, great, I got to watch a horror movie. So like, I kind of feel like you almost, since the world won't cater to you, you almost have to like take care of yourself.
I feel that. I really like that there's a thing on IMDb for that. That's really nice, because usually you wouldn't expect that to be on IMDb.
I'm saying, it has like all the violence, all the like sexual things in it, like also profanity. If you don't like that, it'll tell you everything they say.
Gee willikers.
No.
No.
Yeah. But so there's this comic that I really liked about, I don't know if you guys checked it out, about trigger warnings in like real life situations. So beyond television, beyond film, especially in college settings, because oftentimes what we wind up talking about isn't all that great, especially if we're talking about like history.
Right.
Ha ha ha. Wonderful things have happened in the past. Yeah, genocide. So it's about this girl who has past experience in being hospitalized for suicidal ideation, and so hospitals trigger her, like images of that. So at some point in one of her classes the next year, they didn't say anything about the video that they were about to show, but they said it was featured forced sterilization in mental hospitals, and that was very triggering for her. So she was talking about how all it would have taken was, there might be some material that will make you uncomfortable in this film. If you need to leave, do it.
Right.
'Cause I've had that happen in a couple classes too, where they've been like, so we're going to be talking about sexual violence in my PFW class, which is the very basic class that all freshmen have to take at some point. I took it last semester though, so I waited. But at some point, they will be talking about sexual violence and sexual assault, and they'll say, so we're going to be talking about some perhaps triggering things. So if you need to leave, absolutely. If you need to go now, do it. And that just feels like the extra little bit of nice, because
that's really all it takes is it's like, hey, we might talk about some hard stuff. If you need to go, okay.
Right.
And that gives permission to people, so they're not going to feel like, oh, I'm like weirdly running out of class suddenly.
A scene.
It doesn't give them this weird, like, how when someone enters class late and everyone's like, oh my god, and everyone moves and just stares at you. It gives them a way out, that if people see them getting up and like leaving, they're like, oh, okay, well, teacher said that they could go, it's okay. Right. And pay attention to whatever they're watching.
It feels like it takes some of that responsibility off of the person, because it's not like, oh, now I'm going to have to explain myself later, and then that might just be triggering all over again.
So you don't want to look bad in front of the professor, like running out on your lecture. Like it's easier.
Yeah, but you don't want to be sitting in class freaking out.
Hyperventilating.
Fun times. So I don't know. Some discussions like that, I think, should have trigger warnings on them. But I don't know how to feel about when it comes to media, because I love being surprised by things. I mean, I really love Hannibal, which is one of the most probably triggering shows there could be. But they have the typical TV warnings, and you have to take those into account. And I guess go on IMDb
Yeah,
further
yeah.
if you need to
The
know.
parent settings.
That's really cool resource for people out there.
And also with media, people have the option to turn it off. Like if it starts to become uncomfortable or they start to feel triggered, like they can turn it off.
Yeah.
And like with the lecture thing, like, you know, they did the presenter did their part by saying, hey, stuff might make you uncomfortable, you can leave. And then it comes onto the responsibility of the triggeree, if you will, of if they see something, they can leave. They know they can leave.
Mm-hmm.
They can leave. They're not being forced. It's not like they're being tied down to the chair and
Yeah.
being told, no, we have to talk about this triggering thing.
Because that's triggering in itself.
Yeah.
Don't tie me down.
So with media,
Or do with consent.
yeah, so with media, you know, if you're watching Hannibal and you happen to be triggered by anything that's in Hannibal, you can power off the TV, you can shut down your computer, you can, you know, because in the beginning they did say, hey, so this is pretty graphic. Enjoy.
Enjoy how graphic this is. Basically the beginning of every Hannibal episode.
Pretty much.
Shrug. But so I'm glad you brought up being able to like turn something off and walk away from it, because that's always the debate about cyberbullying. It's like, well, just turn off the computer. And it's like,
Yeah.
it goes a little beyond that.
I forget
that's
who it
deeper.
was. Some celebrity tweeted one time. He was like, "There's no such thing as cyberbullying, man. You just shut your eyes, move that mouse screen, like you can do it."
Shut your eyes. I like that. Don't turn it off. Like,
Just
keep
shut
doing
your
what you're doing. Don't
Keep
look.
your eyes shut. Do not look at the screen.
And people always bring up the debate of, well, there's always a block button. I'm like, yeah, and then there are petty people
It's okay.
that will create account after account to get after you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, you're
I haven't
good.
podcasted in forever.
Hey,
so
we
you
got
know,
a bleep button.
my podcast filter.
It good. It
It's
good.
a bit
Trigger
dusty.
warning
Trigger warning.
for Kora's profanity.
Kora slipped up.
It good. But yeah. We've talked about Twitter so many times on this podcast, and just the fact that you can't get away from it. People are going to, if they want to send you rape threats, they're going to find a way to
absolutely.
send you rape threats. And
tweet.
they do over and over again.
So like
Super
you
fun.
said, it's so like quick and easy to make a new account. You block them, they'll make a new one in 2 seconds just to
Yeah.
send you like hate.
I once had a personal story. I once had a guy who was trying to tell me what my religion was, so I blocked him on Facebook. He then proceeded to make 6 more accounts just to tell me I was still wrong, even though I was like, so I'm done, I'm wrong, I'm never talking to you again.
It's a good
6
thing he knew more about your religion than you.
Yeah.
He's just like, by the way, you're still wrong. I needed to tell you that. You needed to know that.
Like-
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. People online, they abuse the power of online. Of
Absolutely.
the internet in general. It's a very powerful thing, and there's very little responsibility, it feels like, to it. So going along with that, it's often argued that like fandoms should be safe spaces. Fandoms usually are better able to like use trigger warnings about, like, we were talking about fan fiction, like just preface that real quick. But fandoms are very often accused of being like echo chamber circle jerks.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's just like everyone is shipping the same thing. Everyone is saying that this headcanon is real and then other people who have different opinions murder
Like
them all.
2 fandoms that come
set
to
them
mind
afire.
are Dragon Ball Z fandom and Supernatural fandom.
Supernatural fandom's super toxic.
Like if you disagree that Castiel and Dean are not a thing, you're like the epitome of awful. Like in my experience,
No.
because like I like seeing like Dean and Cass on like Supernatural, like the fandom, like on Tumblr and everything. But like, do I think that, you know, they should be together? No, but like,
Kora,
oh my god,
how dare you?
yeah,
Get out of here.
Have so personally offended me. Get out.
We're so
I don't-
upset
I'm
with
going
ending
to
the Coven
make
podcast.
6 different accounts so that I can tell you how wrong you are right now
like you know,
about
I
SDL.
I don't ship Destiel, like, but like apparently I am awful for that. And like if I've run into like with
No
Dragon
arguments.
Ball Z, if you think that Goku is better than, like, when people think that Goku is better than Vegeta, which he's not, but if you state that Vegeta is better than Goku, you are the epitome of awful. Because Goku is that star character.
Yeah.
So, like, even though there's the safe spaces within the fandom, people take it very literally.
Yeah.
It's really awful. It makes safe spaces look really, really bad.
Yeah.
I write fan fiction for commission, and one time a young lady asked me to write fan fiction for the Hunger Games about Prim and Gale, which was a weird combo I've never. Yeah, and I just very politely, I was like, I don't write like underage like characters, especially not with older age ones. Like I was like, that's just like a preference. I don't do that. But hey, you do you.
You do you.
And I was told that I was being extremely offensive because she said the fandom is a safe space and I can ship whoever I want. And like she got very upset with me for not writing her like child pornography.
I mean, how old was Prim when
she was 12?
She will say she was 12 because it was her first year.
Guys.
And Gale was like what, 17?
17, 18.
18? Yeah.
I think 18 because it was the last year in the thing.
Yeah.
I do not ship Prail. Prail is my no
I
TP.
never heard of that as a thing, and I was
Prail-
like, I'm not doing this. Please
Prail
stop
sounds like a
messaging.
cheap
Grim?
knockoff of Pringles.
Grim.
Grim's better.
Grim.
I don't want to ship this. I don't want it to have a name.
I don't need a name.
Yeah, because that is definitely a thing I've run into where people have been like, my like weird, I don't want to straight up say weird, but my potentially bad beliefs are safe because I'm within the fandom. Like, so people who are like, I really love non-con fics where someone gets raped. It's like, wow.
Yeah, not cool.
Not, I'm going to say not cool
Yeah.
in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. But I'm not allowed to have that within a
Right.
fandom, I guess. I'm not allowed to say that's bad.
Fandoms have like pushed this idea that they're such a safe space that you can literally have any type of weird belief in that fandom and no one will judge you.
But
and
it's
if
not
they judge
safe
you,
to oppose.
and if they judge you, they are being offensive and like triggering and awful. Like, like I don't even know, like in fandom, if like you're a fan of reading the non-con, like, like people getting raped and like pulled apart and like all that stuff, like I don't want that.
No.
I don't want any of that to exist. If
Right.
like I really like these characters, like I don't know. No, these are not good ideas to have.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I must open the door of your beige room safe space.
The beige room again.
It's not even decorated.
It's just an empty
The
beige room.
floor's dirty. No. There's no knob. Just a lock.
But then, okay, so I found an entire Tumblr called "Fandom is not your safe space." Space.
Place.
It's not that either.
That URL was taken.
Yeah, that URL
That
was
squicks
taken.
me.
But yeah,
That's
super
squicky.
squicky. But
Squicky
I like
beige
the
room.
description. A blog by a fandom old in air quotes or actual quotes. I put air quotes up though. That rebutes ship shaming and kink shaming nonsense by snot-nosed brats and bullies getting their first taste of social justice, as well as bullies who have been around the block a while. You are not as progressive, brave, or righteous as you think you are.
Oh.
Well.
Yeah.
I take offense to that.
I take offense to that.
You're impeding on my safe space fan blog.
It's just essentially being like, you can't kink shame people. Kink shaming is just a weird.
Kink shame. Okay,
I hate the term.
I get when people are like kink shaming to like, oh, I think it's gross that you like to do anything other than missionary, like. But after that, if you say, oh, I don't think it's a good thing, like, you know what Donald Trump recently was accused of doing, like the golden shower thing. Like, I don't think it's kink shaming to be like, that's a little weird.
Yeah, people are, again, it's like people are entitled to their opinions as long as I think they don't like be like, well, it's my opinion that
I am better than you.
That I am better than you, or it's like my opinion that Hitler wasn't
correct.
wrong. Like there's a line drawn here very clearly when your opinion disrespects someone's existence entirely, or Like, yeah.
Like on the Hitler note, like if
On that Hitler note.
I love this podcast so much.
if you say that, you know, it is the correct and right and no other opinion is correct, to say that, you know, what happened to the Jews was right. Like that's disrespectful to like a religion, a group of people, history, like survivors. Like that is the type of opinion that should be like, no, the Nazis were not right, and Hitler was not right either.
Yeah.
No, and like you said, like, you do whatever you want in the bedroom, but you have to be prepared for some people to be like, that's a little, like, I ran into a blog one time that literally, like, it was just like people fantasizing and like role playing as like being sold into sex slavery, and I was like, this isn't cool. Like, not a fun.
That happened in history.
I was like, not a fun thing. Like, this is not a fun role playing thing. This is what like happens to people. But you can't just be like, no, it's my kink. Like, let me have it. Like, you got to take a little shame sometimes.
Yeah, like, you know, some kinks are shameful.
Right.
Like, you know, like if you're doing that, then be prepared for some people to be like, oh, that's not.
I have a flash kink, and I accept people's judgment for it.
I don't think a flash kink disrespects anyone's existence.
All right.
As far as I know,
Solid.
anyway, at this point. Yeah, so, and I mean, the thing is that usually people are trying to keep that to themselves, their strange, weird kink, but then we have communities where it's apparently much more accepting, like Tumblr. That's where you're going to find the weird stuff.
Yeah.
Also, a very adult website that they had started called FetLife. You can be like super anonymous on there and be like, I like to do all of the weird things. And no one knows who you are unless you tell them.
Yeah.
But they're normally in the community, and there are rules of like the weird communities. I say weird because I don't know what other like word to use, but like within those communities,
Unconventional? I don't know.
Yeah, it's taboo to like quote out people who have like the taboo things that they like to do. Like, one weird thing is that there are people that like to dress up as like horses and do it that way. And so cool. But within that community it's really taboo, and like you get blacklisted if you go out to people and are like, say, you know Tina, right? Well, Tina likes to dress up as a horse.
Yeah, that's not cool. Tina's privacy
should
be...
Tina deserves to be a horse in the privacy of her own home.
She does. Tina deserves to be private. So within these fandom communities and like these other communities, like it's sort of, I think that's where also the safe space goes into. I'm sorry, I'm hung up on the fact that I named her Tina. I don't know why I picked Tina.
Sorry to everyone named Tina out there. We are not outing you.
No. And if you do, it's cool. Like, do you?
We respect it.
But yeah, like it's like the whole taboo of like, don't out people if you do that.
Right.
Yeah. I believe in that. I believe in respecting other people and
respect
their boundaries.
Tina, man.
Respect Tina. Respect Tina. So, but I think Tumblr doesn't have a lot of rules to it at all about whether or not people respect each other. And sometimes I think maybe like whether or not people respect themselves. So one of the main posts you're going to see on Tumblr these days they're hilarious. I love them so much. But self-deprecating posts.
Oh, yeah.
I have a couple examples here, like winks at my reflection in the mirror, reflection walks away. Me trips, me gets back up because trash on the floor is not good for the environment.
Oh no.
That was way too loud for the mic. I'm sorry.
Or I like this one. 50% of my jokes are self-deprecating and 50% are self-congratulatory. Like, I'll say, wow, it's hot in here, just like me. And 5 seconds later, I'll point at a trash can and say, me.
Yes.
You're going to hate yourself in the morning if you stay up late. Joke's on you. I'm going to hate myself in the morning no matter what.
I free-blocked that.
Oh, God. I remember that. But I think I saw that yesterday. And I reblogged it.
I may be trash, but I'm high quality trash, like premium trash, grade A trash, like the kind of trash your mom would be like, should this be in the recycling? Yeah, I'm that kind of trash.
Oh, God.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. So if you feel like incomplete and ineffective, claps. When you use self-deprecating humor as a coping method to hide the fact that you are really insecure.
Too real.
Too real.
No laughs.
Okay, that is kind of the term that I've run into the most, like, too real. Things are too real. So, I don't know. Like, we had a previous episode of Button Mash where people talked about, it was Duffy and Jake specifically, talked about the self-deprecating culture of Tumblr and whether or not that's okay for, like, the 14-year-olds that are getting a Tumblr for the first time and running into, oh, this is like the opinion that I should have of myself. Yeah. Like, as hilarious as these posts are, I do have to wonder, is that a good emotional state to be in? Is that a good way to express yourself?
I think it depends really entirely on the person. Like, some days, like, I will laugh and be like, yeah, I am, like, weeb trash, or yeah, I am Tumblr trash, because I'm on this website that does just, like, all this stuff. And I feel like it depends on the confidence of the person. Like, there are days where, like, I'm super confident and, like, I can laugh at myself, and by laughing at myself, it, like, shields me from all the awful people that are actually saying that, oh, well, you are actual trash.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. I haven't run into that in a while.
Trash is the preferred word, I'm finding.
Yeah.
Trash.
But, like, you know, other days it's, oh, I am trash. Like, but, like, I feel like it depends on the person and their confidence and, like, what's going on with them. I don't necessarily think that I'm not going to be influenced by someone else on Tumblr, of all places.
Of all places.
No, I am awful about self-deprecating humor because I hate myself. Just wonderful. Is it a joke? Who knows?
Yeah.
But there's like 6 pictures of me on Twitter from high school where I would just like sit down next to a trash can and take a picture and be like twinning, and I'd post on Twitter and it would get like 30 favorites, and I'm like, thanks guys. But like I use it as a coping mechanism. Because I don't know how to deal with things, and I'm like, oh man, I sure do feel awful about myself. Better laugh about it, because like then at least you're laughing and you can pretend it's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice sometimes to be like, ha ha ha, I sure do hate myself, but look at the laughter, it's fine.
Well, I feel like laughing, I feel like a skill. Well, I grew up being told that if you can laugh at yourself, it's a lot easier to take criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, if I can laugh at the fact that I am sucking at this one particular thing, then it almost gives me more confidence to like go at the thing and not suck as bad.
Right.
And like sometimes, the self-deprecation comes from actual like, oh, I really hate this about myself. But it's, like I said, it's almost like a shield.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what I wonder. Is it more for oneself, like being able to laugh at yourself and making things lighter from that, being like, oh, wow, I didn't get any assignments in. I should just turn myself in the trash where I belong. But like something like that, and being able to laugh at that for yourself, or is that kind of also for other people to be like, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny that I'm not in a good place right now,
right?
Because like one of these posts, like, friend, hey, are you okay? Me, yeah, why would you ask that? Me flashes back to never-ending self-deprecating jokes. Me remembers posting about welcoming death's sweet embrace. Me, oh
no,
right. I started after I got like really depressed and kind of suicidal. Fun Matt Yapp backstories. I started using like self-deprecating humor because people were uncomfortable around me and they didn't know what to say. And so I felt like the best way to handle the topics was just to make a joke about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like something would go wrong and be like, oh, I'm going to kill myself. Wait, I already tried. Ha ha ha. And people would laugh and it made them a little more comfortable with the situation.
Yeah. Like, because I've run into that problem too with a lot of my friends. Like, when you say something very deep and very just like so like serious, they just kind of look at you because it's just so shocking. And some people don't have the ability to be wholly empathetic in that moment because of their shock. So it's so much easier to just be like, oh, well, I better kill myself. Whatever. And then it's easier through laughter to like laugh about it and be like, but seriously, are you okay? Like, it's easier to talk after the laugh than just like after the initial shock of, I want to kill myself. Well,
yeah.
How about
There's more
jokes?
of a pause there than
Yeah.
like after the laughter fades and it's like, no, seriously, are you okay today?
Yeah.
Like, I totally get that as more of like an easing in kind of situation. That makes sense. But I mentioned 14-year-olds on Tumblr because that's the only people who are on Tumblr, and they have very angry opinions. These
So
14-year-olds.
The
But
14-year-olds are so angry. It's sad, really.
How can such young people have such like angry
So
opinions
much
about
rage.
everything?
To be fair, we were all there. Like, I
Yeah.
was super angry.
I was
14
really
year old.
chill at 14.
Oh.
I was rage and hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but speaking of rage and hatred, my sister, no, she's lovely. No, so my sister has gotten into Tumblr. She is 15, and at one point, like, I used to read her, like, the self-deprecating jokes off of Tumblr, and then one day she, like, said one about herself, and I was like, no,
No, don't
you're
think
great,
you're trash.
you're perfect. So, like, part of me is like, is it more a generational thing? Because adults do not,
No.
like, when I say adults, like, we're adults here, but, like,
Oh,
people
God.
in their 30s do not understand self-deprecating humor. They're like, oh my gosh, are you okay?
Yeah,
Right.
like they see it as more of the signs to look for when someone's about to commit suicide, the signs of depression, the signs, and like when they see or hear that, they're immediately like, do you need help?
Panic, yeah.
Do you need a counselor? Do you need a therapist? Do you need to talk about it? And you're just like, no, I'm fine. I'm just making a joke. And they don't, I see it in their faces sometimes, like older people, like they don't get it. They're just like,
Yeah.
why would you talk bad about yourself and laugh
Right.
about it? That doesn't make sense. Why don't you love yourself more? And it's like, no, I do love myself. This is just a thing I do.
Yeah.
It probably is like an actual problem because we really have created kind of like a generation of like, it's funny to hate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like people make the jokes, and maybe we should be a little more concerned when someone
Yeah.
says something like that, but we're just like, it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's happened so recently. There's no like, we can't see long-term effects of encouraging like being down on yourself versus being self-congratulatory, which I love posts that are like just needlessly self-congratulatory. It's like, I cleaned the windows today. These windows are sparkling. You can see my sparkling face through them. Like, stuff like that. I love
Yeah.
that. But admittedly, a lot of times, like, a post like, I'm not like other girls. I'm much worse. It's like a really genuine laugh that happens.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I also feel like with self-deprecating humor, it's almost so obscene sometimes that you just have to laugh. Like
Right.
that. It's like, I'm not like other girls. It's taking this cliche
Yeah.
and just being like, I'm much worse. And it's like, it's something you don't expect. Self-deprecating humor is so unexpected. And it is, I did genuinely laugh because it's a cliche and it's funny.
Yeah. I guess we just don't know yet how this is going to affect people. I know for my sister who's 6 years younger than me, I'm like, just don't take it like very seriously to heart being in that community where everyone is talking
Yeah.
poorly about themselves. That doesn't translate instantly to they actually factually really, really hate themselves. 'Cause you can do both. You can
Yeah.
be like, one day be like, God, I'm trash. And then the next day be like, look at my sparkling face, peasants. You should be
Yeah.
rejoicing in the fact that I graced you with my presence.
Yeah.
I believe in being either or whenever you feel like you need to. But I
Right.
think then it becomes a little bit concerning when it's 100% all the time, because you wonder where the line is for
Yeah.
like, should I be asking about this
Yeah.
when my friend is saying these things? I don't know where the line is. Yeah.
I feel like when you, if you know somebody, like if you truly know somebody, now online it's a little bit different, but you know, with the internet, you can make like online friends pretty easily. But I feel like if you truly know somebody, you can see the line between their self-deprecation and their actual, for real, I hate myself posts.
Yeah.
Like if you post like something like, an example, I told my boyfriend the other day, you know what I think? I think I'm that Pokemon that dresses up as a Pikachu to try to get people to love it. And and I think I'm a Mimikyu. And he just laughed and he was like, you're not a Mimikyu, you're an actual Pikachu. I'm like, yeah, but I feel like a Mimikyu. So it's like, but I didn't actually feel bad. It's just, I thought of that and I was like, you know what? Some people feel like a Mimikyu some days. Some people feel like a Pikachu. But like, I told that to another friend who didn't really know me that well, and immediately, because they were into Pokemon, they were like, are you okay? Like, you don't actually think you're that bad of a person, right? So I feel like the line is hard to see when you don't know somebody.
Yeah.
But when you know somebody, you can be like, oh, no, you're a Pikachu.
That's
Like,
such a pure conversation.
You're not a Mimikyu, you're a Pikachu.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, I love Mimikyus too. They're
yeah,
really great.
I love Mimikyus.
Yeah.
They're adorable, but like some people really honestly don't like Mimikyus.
Some people are wrong. You know?
Some people are
Some
wrong.
people are wrong.
Yeah.
Some people
Like,
need to
this
get out
is
of my
a safe-
beige room.
Yeah. Get out of my beige room with the single Mimikyu poster on the wall.
They finally decorated.
Yeah. So this is something I literally just now ran into and didn't really have as like a topic to talk about, but here's one post. It's a really cute dog that's saying your self-deprecation is exhausting for us all. That's another aspect I never really considered.
Sounds like my parents.
Are people tired of self-deprecation?
I feel like it could probably get to a point.
Yeah, if you do it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have to take breaks from Tumblr sometimes. I generally try to take breaks from Tumblr because it's Tumblr. Like a lot at once is not good for you. But sometimes I feel like those breaks are triggered. Fun word of the day. By just running into post after post about someone talking about how terrible they are and how sad they are. And like that, there should be a community, there should be a safe space, safe space for people to be able to talk about that. But I guess from the outside looking in, when you don't know that person, it's maybe a different thing. Maybe it's like, okay, we get it. We're all trash.
Please say something not about trash. Talking about Mimikyu or something.
Talk about Mimikyu. Let's talk about Mimikyu. But I don't know. I think it's definitely what people relate to the most right now.
Yeah.
And does that say something about like the world's, this generation's self-esteem?
It's almost like
We didn't get enough like free trophies. We needed more.
when we didn't even want them.
I had so many baseball trophies. I never wanted any of them. Like that whole free trophy thing, I didn't want the participation plaque.
I never,
Yeah.
okay, people talk about these free trophies and everything. I never got just free trophies. Almost like, I think when I got a little bit older, I got like some like medals of like, oh, hey, you participated.
Yeah.
But like, in all the sports I played from like 5 years old to 18 before I came to college, and you know, I sucked apparently. I always won the trophies. Even if like I came in second place in like a travel tournament or anything, they were just like, oh, hey, you're second. Good job. Way to go.
Yeah.
And like you took a picture, but like
Yeah.
to like commemorate, but like I never got a free trophy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I saw something once where someone was talking about, well, you know, like millennials, everyone gets a trophy. Everyone gets a trophy. And it's like, when you look at like people now or then whenever we were kids, it was not for the kids. That trophy was
No.
not for the kids. It was for the parents.
Oh, absolutely.
Because then they're going to get angry if their kid doesn't have a trophy.
Because then they'd be like, well, you know, Donna, my child got a trophy. How many does yours have? Oh, only 5? Well, mine has 12.
Donna is such a mom name.
Donna is a
That
mom
was
name.
great.
Sorry, I'm picking the greatest names
You're
today.
killing it.
Tina and Donna.
But no, I'm with
Barb.
you. I didn't do sport. I did show choir, and if
Yeah.
you did not get grand champion, you got nothing.
Yeah.
You failed.
Like you got the title, it was still there.
Right, like we
but-
finished second at this competition, but we didn't get anything
Yeah,
for it.
like if you didn't win, you didn't win.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand the idea that, you know, like millennials have it all. I don't feel like I have it all.
Yeah.
And that's probably the baby boomers saying this to us is probably why we're so self-deprecating, because like, well, apparently we suck so
I've
much.
never heard anything good about my generation from older
Right?
generations.
I've never heard anything good. So it's like, are we the ones that like cultivated the self-deprecation, or was it the baby boomers like
Like
from-
dealing with
yeah.
people being like, millennials are trash. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm
Well,
trash now.
I'm gonna laugh about it because
Yeah.
that's my entire existence.
Yeah, especially because like how different generations view this generation as the me generation, as that famous Time magazine cover with the girl taking a selfie. Yes, we're absolutely so obsessed with ourselves.
Little did they know, we don't like me.
Yeah. Just put an X over that me.
Yeah.
Or put in the trash.
The trash.
I still just like, that's
The
the
trash
main thing.
generation.
The trash. The
Because
trash
like, well,
generation.
so a lot of people say that like selfies and like all that stuff is being self-obsessive and narcissistic, and it's just like, nah, I just want a good selfie. Like, if I have to take 50 selfies for one good one, you know, that isn't trash,
There's the word again.
then you know, I'm gonna take 50 selfies. Like, hey, the lighting's good, my makeup's on fleek. Like, okay, I'm gonna share with the world that, hey, I'm having a great day.
Yeah.
But like,
And why shouldn't you?
and I want them to see me. I don't want them to see like everything else I'm doing. Like, look, takes a picture of the atrium. I'm having such a great day. Like, it doesn't look like you're having a good day. It looks like there are a lot of
the
people.
atrium's pretty nice.
Yeah.
The atrium's having a good day too. Everyone's good. We're good.
We're
Yeah.
doing great here.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it's like, why shouldn't we be self-congratulatory? Because especially when apparently everything else is awful. And honestly, if you look at some aspects of the world at the moment,
Right.
everything is awful.
Everything's pretty awful. My friend, her name's Calais, and like my favorite Snapchat by far, because all it is her taking selfies, very self-congratulatory. Like, she takes a picture at night and she's like going out to party looking great. She wakes up in the morning, her makeup's like still on, like she like everything's messed up. She's like she's like looking rough but still on point, and like it's just every day she posts about how great she looks, and I love it.
That's got to be good for yourself too.
Right.
Like,
you know, that also
yeah.
builds your self-esteem. Like, everyone's always telling you to be confident and be, you know, not like self-absorbed, but like be out there. But then they like destroy it with
Yeah.
the means
Yeah.
that you're trying to use to be confident.
Yeah, if you're going to be so demanding about my level of confidence, then you need to support it.
Right.
Like my selfie, please.
Like, be confident, but you're trash.
The moral of
Yeah.
today's podcast is just go like our selfies, please.
Go like our selfies.
Go like all the selfies.
Oh my gosh. So to wrap up, I just really want to read more of these posts. Trying to embarrass me is so unnecessary. I do it myself just fine.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, we got some long ones happening now.
oh dear.
Send me that picture you took of us. Sends picture of 2 trash cans. Thanks.
No, one's a recycling bin, one's a trash can.
Is it garbage day? I can't believe they made a day dedicated to me.
Oh.
I love it.
I like how our
love it.
theme is just garbage.
Yeah, that will be our title. Coven is garbage. Trigger warning, the Coven is garbage. And squicky.
So we have 2 titles now.
The Squicky Beige Room.
The Squeaky Page Room with the one Mimi Q poster.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And no
Post
doorknob.
selfie, 3 dead, 7 blinded.
That's my favorite.
No. Yeah. On that note.
Neither of you could ever blind or kill me. So
Oh, gee willikers, man. I feel touched.
But I blind you with my beauty because we are the
do.
me generation and I need to be self-congratulatory at all times.
well, I'm trash, so I should be blind.
But it's okay because we're in a safe space where we can talk about how trash we are.
In our circle jerk of trash.
Right.
Everyone
What
else.
a callback. Trigger warnings for callbacks.
Trigger warnings. Gosh. Okay, so everything's wrapped up now. We said all the things that we talked about. A+ to us. But, you know, we're trash. So
Yeah.
this has been the Trashy Coven podcast. I've been your garbage host, Daley Wilhelm, the Witch of the Wavelengths. Joining me today is...
The trashy Kora Wilson, your garbage druid of the Decibel.
And the wonderful...
The always disappointing Matthew, yep.
The wonderful but disappointing. No, you're wonderful. But
Gee whiz.
thanks, guys, for listening. You can check out our other self-congratulatory podcasts here at bytebsu.com or on our SoundCloud at Ball State Daily. Be sure to check us out on social media should you use it to post self-deprecating posts. We will like those posts with our official at ByteBSU account.
Yeah.
Not guaranteed with that statement, but thanks for listening. Bye.